What's up YouTube, this is GalacticGod, and I'm coming at you now with the Batteryman deck profile. This of course is the Batteryman deck that I took to the most recent YCS out in Anaheim. Now originally I was planning on taking Synchrons, but at the last minute I decided to go with Batteryman. Now although I do believe that the artifact engine works very well in Batteryman and that would have been my preferred way to play the deck, but unfortunately I sold most of my artifact stuff at the start of this format. I think I only really have one Sanctum left and a couple Marrowtechs, so if I wanted to play that version I would have had to scrounge up those cards either by buying them or trying to find people that would loan them to me. And since I didn't really have the time or want to deal with that, I thought I would play more of a pure Batteryman type of deck. So even though I don't think it's the best version of Batteryman, at least for this format, it is still one that I think is highly fun to duel with. Alright, so here goes the deck profile. Alright, so we're playing 3 Batteryman 9V. This guy is pretty much the Stratos of the deck. Whenever he is summoned, you get to go ahead and search out one Batteryman card from your deck and add it to your hand. Works whether he is normal summon or special summon. And then when you do add that card to your hand, you get to increase his attack by 1,000. So he jumps up from 1,000 attack to 2,000. Works pretty well, gets around a lot of stuff, a lot of the Shadal monsters that might be face up on the field in attack position anyways. Then during my end phase, he is destroyed. It is important to note that he's only destroyed during my end phase, not my opponent's. So if I special summon him out on my opponent's turn, he will still be on the field come my turn. Next up, we're playing 3 Batteryman Micro-Cell. So he has an effect that whenever he is flipped, he gets to special summon 1 level 4 Batteryman from your deck to the field. Of course, you're going to grab 9V. Then, if he is destroyed after he's been flipped, you get to draw a card when he's sent to the graveyard. This works really well if your opponent attacks him while he's face down, because then you get to special summon out Batteryman 9V, then add another Batteryman from your deck to your hand with 9V effect, and then Micro-Cell gets destroyed, and then you draw a card. Next up, we're playing 3 copies of Batteryman Charger. Batteryman Charger is a level 5 monster that whenever he is normal summoned, you get to special summon 1 Batteryman from your deck to the field. Typically the one you want to grab is 9V, so you can then add another Batteryman from your deck to your hand. Charger also has a secondary effect that he gains 300 attack points for every Batteryman on the field, including himself. From there, we have 3 Batteryman Fuel Cell. This is a pretty awesome card. Basically, whenever you have 2 Batteryman on the field, you can special summon him from your hand, and his secondary effect is that you contribute 1 other Batteryman monster on the field to send 1 card your opponent controls back to their hand. It's really great for getting rid of any extra deck monsters that might be standing in your way, or if your opponent has some kind of back row that you're not sure if you can get around, you can send that back to their hands so they can't activate it in response to your big push. Finally, we are playing 1 Batteryman Industrial Strength. He is pretty much like the BLS of Batteryman. You can special summon this guy by removing 2 Batteryman monsters in your graveyard. Plus, you can also remove 1 Thunder monster from the graveyard to destroy 1 monster and 1 spell or trap on the field. And that's going to do it for the Batteryman aspect of the deck. For non-Batteryman monsters, we have Honest, who works really well with a Micro-Cell that's been flipped up, and maybe your opponent either used Breakthrough Skill or Fiendish Chain or even Effect Veiler if they're playing that to negate its effect. Then you have this little weenie 100 attack monster just chilling there, and they go to trample over it, and you just Honest them. Always a great feeling. From there, we have 2 copies of Battle Fader. I know this card allowed me to get the win against a Quillport player. He basically pendulum summoned out his entire hand in order to push for game. Since I had nothing left out on the field, he went to attack and I dropped Battle Fader, and he was just sitting there like, I can't even believe someone's still playing Battle Fader. But I think it combos really well with Charger, essentially the same way Battle Fader has synergy with Monarchs. And finally, we have 3 copies of Cardcar D to round up the monsters. This card really helps us draw into all of our combo pieces as fast as we possibly can, which is the most essential thing in a Batteryman type of deck. Also, we do have those faders for any kind of OTK pushes that our opponent might be doing to us on the following turn. And that rounds up the monsters. For spells, we're playing 3 of the Monarch Storm 4th. Currently in the deck, we have 6 targets, including the 3 Chargers and the 3 Fuel Cells. This is probably the MVP card of the deck. I definitely love this card very much. It makes me almost really want to play traditional Monarchs just that much more, because it's so fun to just use your opponent's monsters to get your big guy out. From there, we're playing 3 copies of MST, because Quillports are definitely a thing. I think I played against 3 different Quillports in the tournament, so you will definitely see them. I played them back to back, the first 2 rounds in fact. Next up, we have 3 copies of Supply Squad. I know some people don't really like this card, but it just has really good synergy with 9V. And once it's on the field, your opponent really has to find a way to either destroy that card or get rid of your monster without destroying it. So it changes the way they kind of gotta play their deck. Unless you're going against Burning Abyss and they just keep wing blasting your thing up. Next, we have 3 copies of Pot of Duality. This combo is really well in the deck because not only are we playing Cardcar D, but it's also a great card to follow up with 9-Volt after you get your search. Next up, we have 2 copies of Forbidden Lands because Burning Abyss are definitely a thing out there that you need to worry about. Finally, we got some 1-ofs of Soul Charge, Dark Hole, and Raigeki. That's really great for getting rid of fields and then going for my big push. I don't care if my opponent gets any pluses off of me destroying their field, because usually if I'm playing one of these cards, I'm getting ready to push for game anyways, so it doesn't really matter how many cards they plussed. And that rounds up the spells. So for traps, we're playing 2 copies of Call the Haunted. Definitely works good with 9-Volt, as we can get our Stratos effect off on our opponent's turn, and then he's there as tribute fodder for our Charger the following turn. Okay, then we have 2 copies of Breakthrough Skill, 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, and 1 Solemn Warning to round up the trap cards in the deck. So for extra deck, we have Constellar M7, Photon Strike Bounzer, and Gauntlet Launcher. These are probably the cards that we go the most into, are the rank 6s. I almost thought about playing 2 M7s just because he's so good in the deck, but realistically I almost never get more than one of them off, or at least have the opportunity to. For rank 5s, we have Pleiades and Volcasaurus. Really good cards, although we don't normally go into these as well. And then we have 1 Gaia Dragon to overlay just in case. Then for rank 4s, we have Cowboy, Dweller, Diamond Direwolf, number 103, number 82, number 101, Exciton Knight, and Castel. And then for rank 1s, just in case we happen to be able to make it, we have 1 Slacker Magician in there. Alright, and that's going to round up the extra deck. Okay, so ideally, getting these 3 cards in your opening hand are very good, because you'll be able to plus pretty hardcore off of it. So, if you summon 9-Volt on your first opening turn with a supply squad, you're going to go ahead and get 9-Volt's effect. That's going to allow you to add a Charger from your deck to your hand. You're then going to go ahead and set your Call the Haunted. 9-Volt gets destroyed. Supply Squad allows you to draw another card. Then on your opponent's end phase, you're going to go ahead and play Call the Haunted, bring back your 9-Volt, get 9-Volt's effect again. This time you're probably going to grab a Fuel Cell and add that to your hand. Then on your turn, of course, you draw. You're going to tribute your 9-Volt, use Charger's effect, grab another 9-Volt from the deck to the field, use 9-Volt's effect yet again, this time grabbing, you guessed it, another Fuel Cell. You can then go ahead and special summon both your 2 other Fuel Cells to the field, and you now have over 8k worth of damage you can do in one blow. Alright, so drawing a Fuel Cell and a Micro-Cell in your opening hand is also pretty good because it can lead to another OTK. If you set Micro-Cell and your opponent doesn't destroy it on their turn, you can flip it up on your turn. This allows you to summon a 9-Volt from your deck to the field. 9-Volt's effect will activate, allowing you to grab a Charger from your deck, add it to your hand. You tribute Charger, Micro-Cell off for Charger. Charger's effect will activate, allowing you to special summon out a Fuel Cell from your deck to the field. Then you can go ahead and special summon out your other Fuel Cell, and once again, you have over 8k worth of damage on the field. And there you have it, YouTube. This was the Batteryman deck that I took to the most recent YCS out in Anaheim. I definitely had a blast dueling with this deck, and I highly encourage anyone that's interested in pursuing a Batteryman type of deck to go ahead and do so. You can do so many crazy combos with them. They're just a whole lot of fun to duel with. Anyhow, in the comment section below, remember to let me know what you think of the deck and what you would have played differently without the artifact engine at your disposal. And I guess that's it for now. This is GalacticGod, out.